everyone, it's Patty from Art Out of Anything. It's Thursday, so it's a brand new video today. Yesterday I was busy in my kitchen getting my supplies ready for today. So I've been doing art videos for everyone so that you can do some projects at home with things that you have at home. And many times I mention using paint. Well, we all know that not everyone has paint at home or can get paint, especially right now. So today I am going to show you some paints that you can make in your kitchen with things that you already have. I just want to touch very quickly on something. Art, everyone thinks that, you know, when you say the word art, people go, oh, I can't do art. I can't draw a straight line. I don't know how to draw. Even children, adults, everyone. And I don't believe that's true, because creativity and the need to make things and create is inherent in the human spirit. If you look at cave paintings from millions and millions of years ago, they didn't have a store to get paints from. Where did they get their paint to make a simple handprint on a cave? Well, they used berries, they used dirt, they used clay, they used minerals, other things that have been used to make color before the advent of actual pigment paint has even, as we know it, has been even precious metals. And not precious metals, I'm sorry, precious stones that they've ground down to create pigment. So where there's a will, there's a way. And today we're going to be looking at paint that I made with purple carrot, orange carrots, beets, and lemon. I had to put labels on all of my little jars because otherwise I'd forget what was what. So, and this is also a great way to recycle old jars and cans that you have maybe in your recycling or that you want to save. I like to save nice pretty little jars that I know that I'm going to use at some point, which is exactly what I've done. Also, it's a way to recycle or to use vegetable scraps and fruit that might be hanging on a little too long. Instead of throwing them away or even putting them in your waste compost, you can use them to make paint. Okay, so let's get going. So this is a painting that I did right before I started recording, and it's just like little bubbles that I did. And as you can see, the paint is not really paint. It's more like watercolor paint. So it's actually a dye. When you make these paints out of all of these vegetables and fruits, what you're getting is actually a dye. And I did very simple recipe for this, and it will be at artoutofanything.com, so you guys can do it yourself. And they have beautiful pictures and you can see exactly what's done, but it's very simple. All you're doing is, for example, the carrot. I just grated the carrot, and then I poured boiling water over it. I let it sit, and once for about 10 minutes, I believe. And then I strained the water, the juice out of it, and I got orange. And now, obviously, the longer you let it sit in the water, the darker your color will be. Also, less water, more color. So you might have to experiment a little bit to get what you like, but that's part of the fun too. So now these are actually a couple of layers of paint on top of each other, because as I said, when you first put it down, it's almost like a watercolor wash. It's like a watercolor with lots of water. So that's a really pale orange, right, that I'm putting down. And the orange wasn't a very dark color either. Some of them obviously came out darker than others. This was the blackberries. And that gives you a nice, really cool kind of purple color, which is pretty. And of course, you know, what do you think happens when all of this dries? It becomes darker, which is pretty cool. So you do get a darker color. You can also layer colors on top of each other. So once one layer dries, then you can put another one on top and you'll get a darker color. Can you guess what color this is? This is a beautiful sort of pink color. And that is the beets. And I kind of cheated a little bit with the beets because we actually had frozen beets at home. So I let them thaw out a little bit, and I just used the water from the frozen beets as my dye. So that was pretty easy. But beets give you a beautiful color. This is lemon. Lemon is really hard to see. I think if I would have had more lemon rind, because that's what you use, grate the lemon rind, and you use that, I probably would have gotten a much richer yellow, but I still see a little bit. And if you've seen my videos before, you'll know that if you use turmeric, powdered turmeric, or even dry mustard, you're going to get a really bright yellow. You can see a little bit of the yellow on that one. And if I put more on top, the more layers I put, the brighter the color will be. So you can even see the yellow a little more there, I think. Now, what I also did, I was trying to make like bubbles out of these. So what you can also do, which is a wonderful thing with watercolor too, is that you can, what color was that? I think that was the purple orange. The purple carrot, sorry. What you can do is you can take a paper towel or a napkin and you can take out little white spots for your highlights, right? And that's a technique that you can do with watercolor as well. If you really want to get a part that should be really, really white, like a bright highlight, right away before it dries, use your napkin or your paper towel to blot out some of the color, and you'll get a nice bright white. That's what I did in these spaces for these highlights. Okay, so that's one technique you can use. I'm going to put that aside. Now another one, which is a lot of fun, I do this a lot with my younger students, and I think you could probably guess what this is, but if you can't, I'm going to show you. It's just, I'm going to put some beet paint there, and I'm going to take a little straw, and I'm just going to blow the color to make these very cool shapes. And then you can even tilt your paper to continue to make the shapes. Water tends to follow the same path if you let it, so you want to move your paper around so you get lots of different splashes. And that's also a very nice, pretty technique. And as you can see, I had some yellow here, and again, as it got drier, it gets darker, so I can see it, it's much brighter. And then one more really cool idea, especially for this paint, because it has so much water, I created a texture. Now, can you think of what I might have created that texture with? And if you were paying attention, you would have seen the bottle right on my table. And that's salt. You can use any kind of salt. So this is a coarse salt, sea salt, but you can use regular salt too. And again, what it does is because it's watercolor, kind of like a watercolor or a dye, what happens is with any watered down paint is the salt will absorb the liquid and create texture. So you can put a lot in one little space, you can spread it all out, but once it's dry and you brush off the extra salt or tap it off, you're going to get a really pretty texture on your paper. And this, actually, I left it on for just maybe 5 minutes, and I already had like a really nice texture, and most of the salt was dry. And you could leave it on just for a few minutes and tap it off, or leave it on for a really long time and see what happens and see how it spreads out. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. These are just some, as I said, quick ideas for what you can do with your paint, with your natural paint. And look at this one, that beet is really drying really nicely. That looks really good. I like it. I have used watercolor paper because it's good for water-based paint. It's also a little heavier. It doesn't absorb all of the water, and it gives you a nice, again, texture and feeling. It's made for water-based paints. But if you don't have watercolor paper at home, that's okay. I would suggest, though, to maybe glue a couple of sheets of copy paper, if that's all you have at home, so that they don't get too warped, and so that the paint doesn't just seep right through if you have a lot of water in your dye. Or you can also glue a piece of copy paper to a piece of cardboard or a cereal box, and it'll make it a little sturdier, and that might give you a better surface if you don't have watercolor paper. But I don't want that to stop you. So experiment and see what you can make, okay? And don't forget to visit artoutofanything.com for links to recipes to make your own natural paint, kitchen paint, and also some examples of different kinds of watercolor, and also some information about cave painting, which is really, really cool. Have a great day, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for watching.